I was born in Charleston, South Carolina. I moved to Columbia at age 10. I moved to Atlanta, Georgia at 24, to Europe at 33, and I returned to Columbia at 44. Most people that I make this presentation to say, why'd you come back to Columbia at 44? Well, here's why. I was a business consultant in Europe for 7 years. I was also an account manager with a company called Sumter Limited. And I'm currently a financial advisor with Bankers Retirement Solutions, which is now. I went back to work at age 44. I retired at age 40. What happened was I learned at age 40 what people learned at 65 and 68 when they retired. I was in Central America with my wife. We had planned to spend our retirement days there, starting at age 40, when the 9/11 incident happened. Because of that, we watched the portfolio get cut virtually in half. And I learned very quickly what happens to your investment account when you aren't putting money into the account. So because of that, we chose to come back to the United States, take the money we had, preserve it accordingly, and I decided to become a financial advisor. I learned something at 44 that most people learn at 65, which is it's best to search out investments that give a good return without risk. With this knowledge, I became a financial advisor, and I'm on a mission to help people preserve their assets so that when you retire, you don't end up having happen to you what happened to me at 40 because you can't go back to work. I want to tell the world that safe investments are a crucial part of every retirement strategy. And what I tell anyone that will listen is this: don't put your money at risk. I don't care what age you are, don't put your money at risk. Use investments that eliminate risk and take advantage of market gains. Many people aren't aware there are investments out there that allow you to take advantage of gains in the market. But if the market takes a downturn, your portfolio is protected. So you're always moving forward, you're never going backwards. The goal is to find investments that are guaranteed, give consistent growth, and beat inflation. It's not to try and get rich from your investment account. You get rich by continuously working, putting money into your account, and letting it grow in value. Be aware of the fact that when you retire, you win by not losing. Again, what I learned is, if you don't lose money, you can plan and continue your retirement. If you lose money, it's hard to replenish the account. Understand that if you are no longer contributing to your account, it takes too long to rebound. A 40% drop in your account, which happened in 2008, requires a 67% growth in the account just to get back to where it was when it fell. If you're not putting money into the account on a regular basis, that can take a long time. Currently in 2009, industry says the stock market's up 30%. Well, it would have to go up 37% more to get you back to where you were. Eliminate risk in retirement. Risk makes retirement planning difficult, as you don't know how much you'll have tomorrow. I meet people in various ages and various stages of their retirement life, and it's amazing to me the fear some of them have of spending money, simply because the money's in the market and they don't know if it's going to run out. I have one client, he's 82 years old, his wife is 79. This year they opted not to buy tickets to the Clemson football season because he's afraid. He's got plenty of money, but he's afraid. So you should take away that. Also is you need to simplify things, because someone else may have to pick up the ball and run with it if something happens to you. Usually it's a spouse, it may be a son or a daughter. So you need to keep things simple so it's easy to understand it.
Original Medicare has to do with Part A and Part B. Part A is your hospitalization. Part B in general has to do with your doctor. They're two different things. You get that from the government when you have your Medicare A and B benefits. Okay? Again, there are gaps in these coverages. To me, the biggest one is long-term care. The second biggest one is probably the doctor bills, 20% of which you're responsible for, as a rule of thumb. So those have to be addressed as well. Just a pop quiz for you. In 2010, coming up next year, what is your Part A deductible? What do you think? If you guessed D, $1,100, that's right. Your Part A deductible next year will be $1,100. Last year, well, this year, 2009, $1,068. That's something that keeps going up. So that's another gap in Medicare. If you end up in the hospital, it can be a sizable amount. Part A coverage. The $1,100 that you pay, your Part A deductible covers you for 60 days at the hospital. Or if you come home and you go back within 60 days, you're covered. But after 60 days from the initial intake in the hospital, and you go back in 3 months later, another $1,100. Okay, so it can add up with several hospital stays. After the $1,100, then it becomes a per day charge, on day 61 of $275 a day. Next is going to be on day 91, it's $550 a day. After that, Medicare is done. So on day 151, all costs for the hospital charge are on you. Okay? Well, additional Part A coverage. If you transition from the hospital stay to a skilled nursing facility, the first 20 days are covered under Medicare as long as you jump through some hoops. You have to have been in the hospital at least 3 days, not counting day of discharge. You have to be in the hospital within 30 days of being, or you have to be in the skilled nursing, within 30 days of being in the hospital, and you have to be progressing the whole time. Okay, if you don't meet any of those criteria, then the coverage ends. But if you are meeting those criteria, the first 20 days on Medicare, next 80 days is $137.50 a day on you. And no matter what's happening, this is where long-term care comes into the conversation. On day 101, doesn't matter what's going on, they're done. And that's where long-term care picks up. Okay, that's why we need to address this jointly. Your Part B coverage, in general, doctor services, outpatient, and medical services and supplies. Another pop quiz for you regarding Medicare Part B. In 2010, what is your Part B number? 9640, 155, 198, 996.50. What that means is, how much do you have to pay out of your pocket each year before Medicare starts paying anything at the doctor? $155. This year it was $135, and next year it's going to be $155. So again, just like the Part A deductible, generally goes up every year. Okay? That's a nutshell version of the medical expenses. Okay, but like I said, you can't have a discussion about this without talking about long-term care. That's another big piece of the puzzle. Currently, well, in 2004, who pays for long-term care? Out of $135 billion, billion with a B, spent on long-term care, this is where it came from. The majority was Medicaid, obviously. Before people got to Medicaid, they had to spend down their assets to qualify for Medicaid. That's the 28% over here. 13% by Medicare, which is probably the 100 days that we mentioned earlier, and 12% by private health insurance. That number's gone up as the word has gotten out about long-term care. People are taking action and protecting themselves. My main concern is that 28%. 28% of $135 billion is a whole lot of retirement funds that people had to drain to pay nursing home or pay the home health aid worker in order to get this care. It's a lot of money. So your options are Medicare, health insurance, meaning your Medicare supplement, Medicaid, personal assets, and long-term care insurance policy, or some sort of long-term care protection. Consider these facts. When it comes to in-home care, the people who are doing the actual physical in-home care for somebody, 78% of them are friends and family. I've heard people say, I don't want to burden my family, I don't want to burden this. That is what's happening with home health care. 78% of them are burdening friends and family for the care as of 2004. Funding options are, you can pay it out of your own pocket. If you have enough assets to do so, you're doing great. Okay? You can spend down your assets until you qualify for Medicaid, which is tough considering you can't do that. You can't take advantage of that program. Medicaid's a great program. It helps a lot of people. The problem with that is if you have a married couple and you spend out a considerable amount of money, then go on Medicaid and pass away, well, then you're leaving a whole lot less for that surviving spouse. And that's always an issue, is survivor income.